Hello, Bluegrass area homemakers. So my name is Kendall Redding. I'm the Powell County Family Consumer Sciences Agent. And for this month's leader lesson, we're going to be talking about mindful eating practices. So you might also hear mindful eating called intuitive eating. So some of our objectives for this lesson are going to be to define and differentiate mindfulness eating and mindless eating. We're going to talk about different mindfulness eating practices, why choosing those practices can be helpful, and we're going to talk about a few ways that you can incorporate mindful eating in your everyday life. So what is mindless eating? So mindless eating can also just be distracted eating. So it can be when you're unaware of the amount of food that you're eating. Maybe you're just not paying attention to the flavors, textures, smells. So an example of this could be when you sit down to watch a movie and you've got a bag of popcorn and you've eaten your entire bag of popcorn before you even make it through the previews. So that is a good example of mindless eating. So this can happen when you're eating distracted, you're unaware of the amount that you're eating. And you tend to enjoy your food less when this happens because you're not paying attention to the flavor of your food, the smell, the texture. So you just don't enjoy it as much. It can also lead to overeating. And so that can cause feelings of guilt or shame around overeating, having negative thoughts about yourself. And then over time, when that happens a lot, it can lead to weight gain, digestion troubles, or just the development of other diet-related health conditions. So some mindfulness approaches. So mindfulness is an awareness of our thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and surrounding environment through a nurturing point of view. So mindful eating practices can help decrease stress and improve some health measures like blood sugar and cholesterol levels. But it can also look different for everyone, and it can be incorporated throughout the day in different ways and in different areas. So some of those areas might include stress management, physical activity, sleep, and eating experiences. Mindfulness removes judgment from eating. Mindful eating can be a practice that emphasizes the eating experience with an awareness of thoughts and feelings toward your food choices, and an increased awareness of senses that make food enjoyable, like flavors, smells, and textures. Mindfulness can also help you reconnect to your body's hunger cues. So while overeating is a very normal part of life and everybody does it, mindful eating can help you be more aware of when you're hungry and when you reach fullness. So it can help you avoid overeating to the point of feeling uncomfortable. So an activity that you can do as a group is to discuss mindful and mindless eating practices. So you're going to be given these scenarios and you're going to decide whether that's a mindful eating practice or a mindless eating practice. So you can either divide up sections of the room. So one half of the room will be mindful, the other half of the room will be mindless, and you will just move to the side of the room that corresponds with your answer. You can also hold up signs for each person, or you can hold up your right hand for mindful, your left hand for mindless. Up to you how you want to do it. So just as an example, before you all do your activity together, the first scenario is eating slowly. So is that a mindful eating practice or mindless? So you'll take a couple minutes, move to the side of the room that you think corresponds with the answer. So the answer for this one would be mindful. So eating slowly would be a mindful eating practice. So now would be a good time to pause the video and complete the rest of the scenarios as a group. And the answers to those are in the notes of the PowerPoint. This is a diagram that just summarizes the differences again between mindless and mindful eating. So again, mindless eating occurs when you're eating distracted or when you're unaware of the amount of food that you're eating. Whereas mindful eating is the complete opposite. So it's bringing awareness to the eating experience. You notice the smell, the flavor, the textures of the food. You might be more aware of the environment that you're in, and you're eating without judgment or guilt. So why eat mindfully? Mindfulness focuses on how you eat. So this leads to a more satisfying eating experience, and it often slows you down to enjoy your food and recognize when you're feeling full. Slowing your eating behavior is important because it can take about 20 minutes for your stomach to signal to your brain when you're full. So when you slow down, you're more likely to recognize when you're physically full. Mindful eating is also beneficial for overall health and wellness because it supports weight management and trends toward a more balanced diet that includes fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Now we're going to discuss a few different mindful eating practices that you can incorporate in your everyday life. So the first one is to notice what's on your plate. So before you take a bite of food, take a moment to observe what you're eating. Imagine you're a food critic on a TV show and you're describing the food to someone else. So think about the smell, the flavor, the texture. Second practice would be to express gratitude for what's on your plate, or just gratitude in general. So you might take a moment and pause. Think about something that happened that day that made you smile. Think about something that you're grateful for. Next is to slow down. So slow the pace of eating and take time to enjoy your food. The next one would be to limit distractions. So if your mind is preoccupied, you're really stressed out about something, oftentimes that can interfere with the amount of food that you eat and how quickly you eat it. So by removing distractions, you can be more aware of the food and slow down and enjoy it. Next is to consider your body. So eating with curiosity, pay attention to how the food is making you feel, how hungry you are, maybe what emotions you're feeling while you're eating. Next is to eat when you're hungry. So don't let the clock determine when you eat. Pay attention to your body and what it needs. So many people are tied to certain meal times. Maybe you eat lunch at noon every single day. So a good example of this would be if you're not hungry at noon and you normally eat, it's okay to eat later. So you don't have to eat at noon when you're not hungry. It's okay to wait. And then the last one is to focus on complete meals and snacks. So incorporating a variety of food from different sources, starting with a smaller portion. For those of you that feel more compelled to empty your plate or eat everything on your plate, it's okay not to finish all the food on your plate. But if that bothers you, you can always start with smaller portions. And then if you're still hungry, you can go back for more. Another group activity that you all can do together is this group discussion. So get into pairs and then take 1 to 2 minutes and talk about 3 mindful eating strategies, maybe that you're already doing or that you want to incorporate in your everyday routine. So after your 1 to 2 minutes of discussion, then you can come back together as a group and just have a few people share what they talked about. And then some follow-up questions for the group when you finish that is to discuss what ideas did you get from others? What did you have in common with your partner? And then what were some helpful differences maybe that you talked about? So again, now would be a good time to pause the video and complete this activity. So in summary, mindful eating patterns give you permission to feel while also being more intentional with your behaviors. You can take the time to pause and reflect, to explore why and how that helps you connect with your body, making you more aware of your hunger and fullness cues, and creating a more mindful eater. The last activity is an optional activity. So this is a guided meditation. So at this point you'll pass out like a raisin, but you can also use whatever you want to, maybe a piece of candy, pretzels, whatever you have, and you'll go through a guided meditation where you are thinking about these 8 cues. So there is a scripted meditation in the notes of the PowerPoint. So you'll have a volunteer read through that while everyone else goes through the guided meditation. So now would be a good time to pause the video and complete that activity. Here is a QR code to the evaluation. So you can complete it electronically, or you can complete the paper evaluations that were provided and turn those into your county agent. And then if anybody has comments or questions, or you want more information about a certain topic, you can contact me. Here is all my contact information. And I hope you all have a good lesson and a happy fall.